Good morning, everybody. Welcome to today's video. It is the second day of August, so today I can give you all my July reading wrap up. We have quite a few books to get through today, so let's just get started. We did this month read all the books that I picked out for my July TBR, which that's very exciting. And we'll just get into it, to be honest. So the first book we read was a horror, and that was The Haunting of Gillespie House by Darcy Coates. This one, you're following a young girl, Elle, as she's house sitting for the Gillespies, who are away on vacation. It's a haunted house, so it just follows any kind of haunted house, really. We start off with bumps and noises in the night and go from there. I'm not going to give away really anything else, but it does follow like cults and a cult leader. So this was really fun. I gave this a 3. I don't really have anything to hold this against in terms of haunted house books. I do now have quite a few on my TBR, so I'm very excited to compare this to others that I've read and kind of get some more insight. This was only about like 200 pages or something, because it did have like other stories, like, so it had the Gillespie house, and then it had like 3 other stories in it, which was really quite fun. But even then, it was still like a 200-page read, so super short, super quick. Definitely would recommend this one. I've also got plenty of books by Darcy Coates on my TBR, so I'm very excited to kind of read them. We then read a bit of I don't know if it's a classic. I'm gonna say it's a classic. We read The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This was fun. Like, this was very whimsical, very not fast paced, but very lyrical, and it felt like we were constantly doing things. I have never read, obviously, The Lord of the Rings. I haven't even watched the movies, so I know very little about this world. I found I learnt a lot following Bilbo Baggins on his quest. I was told that you're supposed to read this one before you read the other ones, because it's the like prequel kind of book. But I enjoyed this. I gave it a 4. I thought this was really fun. I'm very excited to read the rest of the series as well. It kind of kept the thriller vibe going a little bit this month. I don't really know what inspired me to pick this one up. It wasn't on the TBR, but I picked up Off the Deep End by Livisabeslibrary, which is a thriller. It's, again, quite a short thriller. I actually found out from reading the back of one of her other books that Livisabeslibrary is actually a doctor of psychiatry. Like, she's a child psychologist, which is really cool and explains the themes of her book so well. So in this one, you're following Jules, and Jules's son has just been in... Jules was driving home one night with her son and her son's kind of friend in the car, and there was they were involved in an accident, and her son's friend didn't survive. No, her son died. So and this is crazy. There was so many plot twists in this. So we're set 10 months after the accident, and we're following Jules, who is now a patient at a mental institution. It is crazy. Like, this was absolutely insane, but I loved it. I only gave it a 3.5 though, but it wasn't as good as The Perfect Child that I read by her, but I still did very much enjoy it. We then had my first 5-star read of the month, because I finished The Butcher's Masquerade by Matt Dinnerman. This is book 5 in the Dungeon Crawler Carl series. I have been listening to this whole series on audio, and I do highly recommend you do that. The way Jeff Hayes narrates these is phenomenal. This made me cry. I was listening to this while I was cleaning my kitchen, and I was standing in the kitchen bawling my eyes out at the end of this book. It was crazy. This has probably been my favourite so far, without a doubt, to be honest. So I really did love this. I think we're getting a lot more emotional kind of insight, there's a lot more kind of happening than was happening in the first like 3-4, more politics and things outside the dungeon. If you aren't familiar with the Dungeon Crawler Carl books, it's an 8-book series at the moment. There is going to be more, and the first one starts with basically the apocalypse. So the earth is flattened, and only people who were outside at the time of the incident, the invasion, survived. They were given the option to either try and survive on the surface or go into the dungeon, which is basically a massive video game where you are the main player. And Carl and his ex-girlfriend's cat, Princess Donut, go into the dungeon. We follow their story from there as it's 18 levels as they go through each level. You meet some phenomenal characters in this as well. It's just so beautiful. And then what did I do next? Oh, I did a romance next. I did Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. There's a TBR prompt in there. Again, I wasn't too sure what to expect going into this because I've heard people don't like this one as much as One Golden Summer, which is the second book and also in this pile. But I found this quite fun. I really liked Percy and Sam and their journey. I do love when we get the kind of past present timelines, which this book had. The setting at the lake was really nice as well. I did give it a 3.5 because as much as I liked Sam and Percy, I just wasn't as emotionally attached to them, if that makes sense. I liked them, but I was also kind of just meh. And there are a few little things in here that really annoyed me. And I know there is a trope in here that people will hate. Didn't really bother me that much. So that was a 3.5. I kept going with another series that I've been putting aside for ages, and that is the You series by Caroline Kepnes. I read book 2, which is Hidden Bodies. This one, I only gave this a 3. I liked it, but I think my view going into these has been altered because I did watch the TV show and I do love the TV show very much. I've watched the TV show 3 or 4 times. But so there are a lot of differences, and for me I'm kind of sitting there going, But the psychology in this is really interesting. I do like because we get everything through Joe's perspective. If you're not familiar with this series, book 1 follows Joe. He is a bookseller in New York. However, he is very deeply troubled but doesn't know he's deeply troubled. He's quite psychotic. Very he murders people, basically. He kills a lot of the women that he's with. He's very toxic, but the women don't know when they get with him. He's very nice guy kind of vibe. Definitely, I'm going to finish this series because I want to see where it goes, because the ending of this was very different. It was a very cliffhanger ending, so I do want to see where we go from here. Then I finished a series by reading Restitution by Lee Rivers. This is book 3 in the Edge of Darkness trilogy. I do still have the prequel book to go, but that's fine. It's not actually out yet. Well, it's out, but I've pre-ordered. It doesn't come out till October or something here. It doesn't matter. Just look at that. So this one I gave a 4 stars. I did really enjoy this series. It was very dark. Book 1, we're following Cade Mitchell and Stacey Rhodes. They were together when they were teenagers and they're basically the love of each other's life. However, something happened when they were younger and they've now been no contact for a few years. But Stacey is best friends with Cade's sister. Cade is now very heavily involved in the underworld. There's a lot of things going on with both of them. It's not toxic. It's dark. It does get messy, but it at the same time is so beautiful, and their love story is just stunning. Very spicy and very, very heavy. Do check your trigger warnings before you go into this. I am very excited to read the prequel book, which follows Cade's mum and dad. And then I have actually ordered 2 more books by Lee Rivers, Her Little Stranger and whatever the second one to that's called, that duology. I have also ordered those, so I'm very excited for them. Then, because I kind of needed to lighten it up a little bit, I was getting a bit dark, I turned back to thriller, and we read No Place Left to Hide by Megan Lally. I read That's Not My Name by her when it first came out, and that was amazing. That was a 5-star read. So I thought, what better idea than to pick this one up. This one's following Brooke, who is basically about to graduate high school. She is like the perfect child. Her mum is the school principal. Her dad is like trying to become a judge. Like, he's a very prominent lawyer. And she is perfect. She has just gotten into Yale on the night, like the day we start talking to her. However, there's an incident she was involved with a few months ago with with a different classmate. So we're kind of following. Can I tell you that? No, they just refer to it as the incident on the back, so I'm not going to tell you what the incident was. And one night, so she finds out she's gotten into Yale, and her classmates are hosting like a big party because there's a lot of them that are like prospects for these fancy universities. And she goes, and then on the way back, she starts to be followed by another car. And we kind of follow her journey. We're basically set on that one car drive. We get a little bit before and after, set on that one car drive with flashbacks as well. But yeah, this was really good. I ended up giving it a 4. Did I give it a 4? 4.5. 4.5. I just thought the ending was a tiny bit rushed. I kind of wanted a little bit more conclusion from the actual the aftermath. But other than that, this was a 4.5. Definitely would recommend. It was super quick. Like, I think I read it in a night. It was awesome. I went on a bit of a kind of a binge partway through the month. If you might have seen that vlog already, because it is out. I did a continuing series that I'm in the middle of. Like, I tried to really prioritize finishing series as well as my July TBR. So I continued I don't even know what this series is called. The Callaway Ranch, maybe? Hold on. See, I can't remember because I didn't like the books, like, at all. I don't know. I don't know, this might be the Callaway Ranch series. This one is Small Town Smoke Show. This is book 2 in this. These are by Holly Renee. There's no others out, and I haven't seen any word on there's a third one coming out. But I'm not continuing the series. You would have seen my opinion on the first one, Cowboy Casual, in the last reading wrap-up. I was like, oh, I'll give this one a go. Like, you know, it might be, it's like a second chance. He dated her sister kind of deal. No. I don't know what it is about this book and the first one, but I just don't like them. I think they are so trope heavy, but not in a fun way. There's just everything thrown in there. I find them quite cringy. And there's just a lot of spice. Like, I like spice, but there was a lot of spice, and I didn't like the spice. It kind of gave me the ick. But in this one, yeah, so you're following Hunter and... See, I can't remember her name. She runs the bakery. I know that. Is it Eve or something like that? Yeah, she runs the Maggie? Maybe Maggie. I think it's Maggie. Hunter and Maggie. So yeah, he obviously dated her sister. They broke up a few years ago, and now it's like this kind of forbidden, we can't be together kind of situation. But they were like really good friends. And it's a small town, and his brother's dating her best friend. Didn't love it. I gave it a 2-star. I don't want to ponder on that anymore. Started a new series actually because it was on my July TBR, and that was Belladonna by Adeline Grace. And as much as I read the back of this before I got into it, it's not what I was expecting. It's YA, fantasy, but also murder. Like, yeah, it was kind of like thrillery as well. It was really fun. So in this one you're following Signa. She can see death, basically. Like, she can't die. Death comes and just talks to her every time she nearly dies, and mysteriously people around her always die. So she's been kind of passed from guardian to guardian a lot until she's 18. Her current guardian has just passed away, and some family of hers, like distant uncles or aunties. The Hawthorns take her in, so she goes to them, only to find out that the lady of the house was murdered a couple months ago. And it's a murder mystery. Like, we follow her as she tries to plot this murder. She's trying to solve it. She's also got a lot going on with the death himself. He is like a very prominent character in this. It was really fun. Like, yeah, I really liked it. I gave it a 3.5, but I did enjoy it. There's obviously no spice, it's YA, which was very refreshing. I actually have a feeling that book 2 and 3 actually follow different people, or maybe book 2 is her and book 3 definitely follows a different protagonist. It was just very fun, very refreshing, I found. Then kept going with continuing series and ended a series that made me quite sad, quite emotional, because we finished Heartstopper with Heartstopper Volume 6 by Alice Osman. This only came out in July, and this was just such a beautiful conclusion to this series. Like, yeah, I don't really have much to say about this other than it was beautiful. I gave it a 4. These are graphic novels. So they're super quick reads. There's obviously 6 of them in the first. So you're following Nick and Charlie, and they get sat together on their first day of homeroom. Yeah, thinking Charlie's maybe grade 11 and maybe Nick's grade 11 and Charlie's grade 10, I think, when we start these books. It was just so beautiful. I did love it very much. Yeah, I also don't have much to say about it. It was just so good. I would highly recommend that series to absolutely anybody. Yeah, all of our characters in these are wonderful and beautiful, and I really can't, I really can't, floor it at all. I think you'll find a lot of the rest of these books will be either from my July TBR or finishing series. So next one, we finished a series and we went back to Barry's Bay and read One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune, which follows Every Summer After. This follows the brother of Sam from the first book. His name is Charlie. Charlie. And this is Charlie and Alice. Alice is a photographer from whatever the big city in Canada's called, and her grandmother has just broken her hip. So Alice goes, let's go up to Barry's Bay. They used to, they have her grandma's got friends who own a cabin up there, and let's spend the summer here while you're healing from your broken hip. And there she meets Charlie, who's basically caring for the cabin for this guy, prepped it all for them. And their relationship kind of starts off as don't really like each other, but then kind of goes from there. It is so sweet. I liked this a lot. I gave this a 4, so I like this more than the first one. I just really like Charlie and Alice together. I love how center stage her nan was in all this too, her grandma. It's just so sweet. And the fact that I could probably have sat down and read the first one, then the second one, one after the other, and not got sick of this little small town, this lake we were in. I just really love the setting. This lake in Canada, people just have country cottages at and they just go every year. It's just so cool. This was probably one of my favourite romantasy reads of the month, and that was Shadow Reaper by Lynette Noni. It's one I gave a 4.5 too. It's a YA romantasy. Sorry if you can hear scratching. The dog's trying to get comfortable on her little bed. Can I show you? She's just trying to get comfortable. Yeah, fantasy romance. I think this is going to be a duology. I hope. I don't really know. Alright, she's settled. So in this one, you're following Viri and Reeve or Ashton. It's Reeve, isn't it? Reeve Ashton. Viri is I can't even remember what they're called. Crap, I should have looked at this before I started talking to you. She hunts reapers. I don't know what they're called. She hunts reapers. She's like a hunter. Reapers are basically these humans that have sucked the magic from other people, and they now need to do that to survive. So follow, and she hunts them. And then one day she finds out that Reeve has been taken into custody, Reeve was her childhood friend. He is basically, they think, the apprentice to the high priest. And so we follow kind of her story. There's a lot of twists and turns in this. I loved it. It was so fast paced as well. We do get like a bit of a present future timeline thing kind of going on, because we do have these letters from the past in here as well that we're kind of reading as we go through the book. I love this. Again, it was just so magical, and just I've found this, it was such an escapism book. Like I was escaping reading this, which is what I've missed lately with a lot of romanticies I've been reading. I just haven't been escaping. Phenomenal book. I'm very excited for whenever my stack just fell over. For whenever book 2 is coming out. I'm pretty sure it's only going to be a duology. Then we finished another series, and this one I gave a 3, but I'm low-key debating whether I want to drop it. And that's The Thorn Queen by Sasha Payton Smith. This is book 2 to The Rose Bargain. I think I'm going to drop that to a 2.5. I didn't love this at all. Book 1, you're following Ivy Benton as she becomes like of age to go out into the marriage market, whatever they used to call it. She makes her like, she's like making her debut into society. And in their world, there is a fae queen. So she's Ivy, and like 99% of the people are human. Then there's a fae queen. And when you are debuting into society, you can talk to the queen, and she'll basically kind of grant you one wish. I think that's crooked. It's kind of irking me. I think it's crooked. That's better. She will, so you can like wish for a beautiful singing voice, and she will like take your fingernails or something. Things very like that. However, when Ivy debuts, she is given the option to, how to say, enter, like, the queen's like, oh, I want to marry off my son. And so she's given the option to kind of enter this competition to win the prince's hand in marriage. However, if you enter the competition, you're then never allowed to, like, marry anyone. The end of the first book ended in an absolute plot twist, and this follows that. This is not what I expected at all. And, yeah, I just didn't really love it. I like that we got, like... See, I can't really say anything because it's book 2. Didn't really love it. I did kind of enjoy the first book, and then I didn't love this one. So, there's that. This was probably one of my favourite romantasy reads of the month, and that was Shadow Reaper by Lynette Noni. This one I gave a 4.5 too. It's a YA romantasy. Sorry if you can hear scratching. The dog's like trying to get comfortable on her little bed. What, can I show you? She's just trying to get comfortable. Yeah, fantasy romance. I think this is going to be a duology. I hope. I don't really know. She's settled. So in this one, you're following Viri and Reeve. Ashton? It's Reeve, isn't it? Reeve Ashton. Viri is a... I can't even remember what they're called. Crap. I should have looked at this before I started talking to you. She hunts reapers. I don't know what they're called. She hunts reapers. She's like a hunter. Reapers are basically these humans that have like sucked the magic from other people, and they now need to do that to survive. So follow, and she hunts them. And then one day she finds out that Reeve has been taken into custody. And Reeve was her childhood friend. He is basically, they think, the apprentice to the high priest. And so we follow kind of her story. There's a lot of twists and turns in this. I loved it. It was so fast paced as well. We do get like a bit of a present future timeline thing kind of going on, because we do have these letters from the past in here as well that we're kind of reading as we go through the book. I love this. Again, it was just so magical, and just I've found this, it was such an escapism book. Like I was escaping reading this, which is what I've missed lately with a lot of romanticities I've been reading. I just haven't been escaping. Phenomenal book. I am very excited for whenever my stack just fell over. For whenever book 2 is coming out. I'm pretty sure it's only going to be a duology. Then we finished another series, and this one I gave a 3, but I'm low-key debating whether I want to drop it. And that's The Thorn Queen by Sasha Payton Smith. This is book 2 to The Rose Bargain. I think I'm going to drop that to a 2.5. I didn't love this at all. Book 1, you're following Ivy Benton as she becomes, like, of age to go out into the marriage market, whatever they used to call it. She makes her, like, she's, like, making her debut into society. And in their world, there is a fae queen. So she's Ivy and, like, 99% of the people are human. Then there's a fae queen. And when you are debuting into society, you can talk to the queen, and she'll basically kind of grant you one wish. I think that's crooked. It's kind of irking me. I think it's crooked. That's better. She will, so you can, like, wish for a beautiful singing voice, and she will, like, take your fingernails or something. Things very like that. However, when Ivy debuts, she is given the option to, how to say, enter, like, the queen's like, oh, I want to marry off my son. And so she's given the option to kind of enter this competition to win the prince's hand in marriage. However, if you enter the competition, you're then never allowed to, like, marry anyone. The end of the first book ended in an absolute plot twist, and this follows that. This is not what I expected at all. And yeah, I just didn't really love it. I like that we got, like, see, I can't really say anything because it's book 2. Didn't really love it. I did kind of enjoy the first book, and then I didn't love this one, so there's that. The next 2 are actually both books in the same series that I gave very different ratings to, which is kind of funny. So that was Wrecked and Redeemed by Lauren Asher. This is book 3. This is book 4 in the Dirty Air series, which are F1 romances. F1 romance is not for me. I, before reading this series, had read 2 other F1 romances, which I didn't like at all. And I thought that might have just been because it was a different author to me, like, new author. And I know I love Lauren Asher. So I read books 1 and 2 and was like, I don't like this. Read book 3, don't like this. So I came to the conclusion that I just don't like F1 romance. Read book 4, loved it, but we didn't centre around the F1. So, yeah. Anyway, let's give you so 2.5 for Wrecked. This one's following Jax, who is, like, real bad boy F1, like, got really bad reputation, and Alina, who is his PR agent. We kind of follow their story. I didn't like that, but I think that was just purely because, like I said, we were centering around the F1 side of things. Then Redeemed follows Santiago, who is an F1 driver, obviously. He's not driving anymore when we go into this book, and we follow Chloe. And they meet because Chloe breaks into his house in Italy thinking that that's where her biological dad lives. It's not. And this was, oh my god, I got the hiccups. And this was just fun. I really enjoyed this. I gave this a 4. I purely think it's because we didn't centre around the F1 side of things. We did get, like, snippets of Maya and Noah from book 1 in this as well, because this is set quite a few years after that. Not quite a few, maybe like 4 or 5 years after that. But I really enjoyed it. If you like F1, definitely read the series. I do love Lauren Asher as an author, but yeah, I think I'm going to unhaul. I've got a couple F1 romances on my TBR, so I think I'm going to unhaul those. To be honest, I just don't think I'm enjoying them. We read another Dungeon Crawler Carl book as well. This month we read The Eye of the Bedlam Bride, which is book 6. This one I gave a 4. I enjoyed this one. I think we only had 1 flaw in all of this, didn't we? Yeah. Yeah, we were only like literally 1 whole dungeon flaw in like 700 pages. which was fine. I did still like the floor we were set on. I liked the theme of it. It just... I was expecting a much more emotional conclusion than I got, which I don't really want to say much more on. But yeah, I was purely expecting a really emotional ending, and I didn't get that, which is why it was a 4. But I still really loved this. The next 2 actually had nothing to do with my July TBR or finishing series. So I think I just picked them up because I wanted to read stuff on my Kindle. And I picked up another Livisabeslibrary book. This is The Best of Friends. In this one, you're following the parents of 3, basically the mums of 3 teenage boys who there's just been a horrible accident with a gun. The 3 boys are playing with a gun. One boy has died. One is in hospital, but is like brain dead. Like, he's not gonna come back to life. There's no hope. They just like basically need to cut the cord, like flick the switch. And the third one has no injuries, but is like not speaking. Like, he has not spoken a word since the accident. Now you follow these 3 mums as they try and kind of figure out what's happened. Like, there's police investigations. It's a lot darker than you would... It's not really a lot darker, but there's a lot going on beneath the surface that they don't know about as the kids' mums. It was fun. I was confused though. I will say I had to actually open my notes app on my phone and put in like, these are the parents to this kid, and this kid is like the dead one, so that I could kind of track for the first bit. But again, it was just super short. Like, it was, I think, another 2, it was less than 300 pages. Very fun. I can see why and how she writes such a good like kid or teenager thriller, like psychological thriller. It was insane. There is actually one more Livisabeslibrary on this list as well. And the next one again has nothing to do with the July TBR or any of the vlogs I was filming, and that's In the Dark by Chelsea Curto. This book taught me a valuable lesson. Oh, wait, I didn't tell you what I rated this one. Hang on. The Best of Friends... Oh, I actually rated that a 2-star. I think because I was so confused from most of it. Yeah. Anyway, In the Dark by Chelsea Curto taught me a valuable lesson to read the back of the book before you pick it up. Because I picked this one up. Like, it's about it's Maxine and Hunter, and Maxine goes to like a fairground in October to do haunted houses. And he works in the haunted house. And to be honest, that should have been my giveaway. That really should have been my giveaway, but here's little old me putting this on my romance TBR, my romance shelf, when in reality it should have been on this shelf behind me, on the dark romance shelf. Picked this up and started reading it and went, this is dark romance. Read the back of books. However, I loved it, and I gave it a 4, I think. Well, I gave it a 3.5 apparently. I'm upping this to a 4.5. So I loved it. Absolutely adored it. Once I realised I was in a dark romance. I will say it is very, very trope heavy for dark romance tropes. It's not dark like H.D. Carlton's Dark or the Edge of Darkness trilogy dark. It's not like that. It's more of like a... I don't want to say a rom-com dark romance, but it's nowhere near as dark as a lot of them. Yeah, like I said, he works at the haunted house and she visits the haunted house, and they kind of go from there. Very like caregiver vibes as well to her, like breaks into her house to like stock her fridge and replace her mattress. He does do obviously some questionable things with planting cameras around the place, but other than that, I did really enjoy it. It's now and it's such a pretty cover too. Like, say what you want about Chelsea Curto's writing. I won't say anything because I absolutely love her, but she does a very pretty cover. Oh, so I've just got a notification my glasses might be ready. I had to go to the optometrist and get new glasses because I was... Oh. No. They just told me that it's, like, being made. That really annoys me, because I got one for Caseify too, because I obviously got a new phone. And they were like, they obviously send you a confirmation email to say, oh, we've got your order. And then they send me another one to say, oh, we're preparing your order. I don't care. Just tell me when it's shipped. I don't care. I want my order. Give me my freaking order. Sorry, that's just my little sook. The next one was actually on the July TBR. Woohoo, we read one off the TBR. And that was Yesteryear by Gary Claire Burke. I'm sure you've all probably heard what this one's about. It is everywhere. Well, was everywhere about a month ago. It's still floating around. You follow Natalie in this. She is a trad wife influencer. Her primary platform is Instagram. She's born again Christian. Born again Christian? Yeah, I think that's the word. Yeah, and her husband and 5 kids or 6 kids or some shit live on a farm. But everything, obviously, that is put on social media is not always the truth. Like, so, like, she makes all of this stuff from hand and takes care of 5 or 6 kids, however many it is. However, there's 2 nannies involved. Like, they run this farm, but there's, like, all these work, like, on their own, but there's a ton of workers. There's industrial ovens, like, it's kind of like that. And then one day Natalie wakes up and she is back in basically like the 1800s. And it's like she's living as a trad wife now. Like how she would have lived back in the 1800s. It's amazing. This book I really loved it. I liked the social commentary on everything. I did, on influencers and how they live, and the plot twist was insane. Not gonna tell you what it was, but there was plot twists in there, and they were insane. I will talk quickly. I had 2 DNFs this month. I DNF'd Furybound by Sable Sorensen, as you all may know. I read Diabound a few months ago, and I did not like it. I gave it a 2, and I went, you know what? I've already bought book 2. So why am I wanting today? It's like, I've already bought book 2. It's on my TBR. Let's just read it and just see how we go. Who knows? Maybe book 2 is going to blow me out of the water. It's going to be phenomenal. No. I read, I think, 10%, and I went, I'm sorry, I really can't be in this world. So I DNF'd it. It just wasn't for me. I think not liking book 1, so I picked up book 2, and I just couldn't get into it. I was like, I'm not spending 700 pages reading something that I'm clearly not enjoying, which is fine. So I DNF'd that. Then I DNF'd another book called The Swan's Daughter by Roshani Koshki. This is a YA romantasy, like romance kind of situation. Yeah, I didn't like it. I just don't think I was in the mood for a comfy, cozy YA fantasy. And that's it. And I was a bit confused. And yeah, like I said, nothing was happening, which obviously is fine because we're in a YA book, but I thought it was like cozy. And I was, just not in the mood for cozy. That's all. I DNF that at 25%. Anyway, back into the other books. I listened to the audio of The Martian by Andy Weir, again, on the July TBR. I gave this a 4. I found this was very similar in the way that... What's his name? Can't remember his name. What's his name? He's funny. Whatever his name is, he's very similar to Ryland Grace out of Project Hail Mary. Beck? No, it's not Beck. It's like all audio. I can't remember his name. Is it Mark? I feel like it's Mark. Hang on, let me Google this. Yeah, I was right. It was Mark. Mark Watney. He has been stranded on Mars by his crew. There was an incident and they all thought he was dead. So they left. And he's alive. So he needs to find a way to survive on Mars when the original mission was meant to be for like a month, and it's going to take like at least a few years for somebody to rescue him, or like, yeah, it's crazy. It's awesome. He's hilarious, just like Ryland Grace from Hail Mary. I'm going to be reading Artemis by this author. I did listen to the audio of The Martian, which I think helped, because a lot of the as much as it wasn't as sciencey as Hail Mary, like it was sciencey but not as in depth as Hail Mary, I just find it nice to have somebody reading those words to me, because if I saw them on the page I would have no idea how to pronounce anything and would probably skip over it. But I think the science is pretty important, so I'm glad I listened to that. Finished, well, I'm up to date on another series, and that's Harvest Season by Bryn Weaver. Now, so I got an itch. I was disappointed by this. I remember reading book 1 and being like, oh, this is good. Like, I like this. This is going to be a trilogy, but they're not interconnected. They're, like, following the same couple. To be honest, this was just boring. We were doing the same thing the whole book over and over and over again. Who was it? Nolan and Harper. I just kept getting annoyed. And I absolutely loved the Ruminous Love trilogy by Bryn Weaver, so I don't know what it is about this. In book 1, you're following Harper, who lives as the gardener for Arthur. He's got dementia, he's like 89 or something, and she has to make sure that these people that he's killing, because he kills people, she's hiding their bodies. So she has to do that, and then Nolan comes to town. Nolan's brother was killed a few years ago, and he's out for revenge. Don't really want to say anything more than that. Am I going to continue when that last book comes out? Possibly. I don't know. I'm really not sure. I can't give you an answer right now. But then we went on to a good book that I gave a 4. And that was Into the Blue by Emma Brody. This was the last book I had on my July TBR. Kind of glad I saved this till last. This is a love story. This is not a romance book. I will agree with everyone who said that it's not a romance book. And this follows AJ and Noah. They meet when they are 17 and work at the same video store. Noah comes from basically a dynasty of actors and actresses. And AJ is just kind of in this small town. She wants to write scripts one day. And we follow their story so they're 17, we spend a summer with them. We then time jump a few years to when they're in their 20s. And this show called Into the Blue is produced, and they both act in it. And then we follow about 5 years later. This is sad. I didn't cry like everybody else did. It's very, I'm trying to figure out what I can kind of compare it to. It's kind of like, Love Letter to Whiskey, in the way that they kind of break up and get back together and break up. Well, they don't really even break up. But their friendship breaks up and they fight and they get back, like, they become friends again, and then they reconnect years later, and it's like that. However, this focuses very heavily on the acting world, and AJ ends up working for SNL, Saturday Night Live, as a writer. I would very much recommend that. It is like, it's over 400 pages, but that's okay for that book. It needs it. Not a romance, a love story. Would I say check your trigger warnings? No, there wasn't really anything triggering in it. It was just sad, but I didn't cry, so not as sad as I thought it was going to be. Okay, last 4. Finished another series. This is Dearly Beloved. This is a duology. So this one is The Exquisite Torment to Loving Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. I gave this a 4. I loved this duology. It is a Dramani fanfic. It's a very crude humour, but I love it. In this world, so in book 1, Oriane. Where we got Orleith from. Oriane is a healer, and Ostrich is basically an assassin. He is suffering from a deadly, condition with his magic, and he seeks her help. And we kind of follow their story from there. But that's obviously very forbidden because she's a healer, he's a assassin, so like their guilds don't talk to each other. We kind of follow their story. This kind of healing has never been attempted before, never been done, and we follow as they go. I loved this. This is just so fun, man. Like, you can't get any more fun than that. Then after that, so on Friday I started a 24-hour readathon, and there were a few books I really wanted to read in that. The first one being Mother of Death and Dawn by Carissa Broadbent, which is book 3 in the War of Lost Hearts trilogy. I'm so glad I've finished this trilogy, to be honest. It's been sitting on my shelf for ages because I read book 1 in like April last year, which is crazy. And then I read book 2 a couple months ago, and now I finally read book 3. So I'm very happy about that. I gave this one a 3.5. I loved it. It was extremely long. Do I think it needed to be over 600 pages? Probably. I just am not as connected to these characters as I am to the ones in Crowns and Iaxia. I mean, to be honest, I didn't really care what happened to half of them. And I don't know, the story just kind of annoyed me after a while. I just want to show you. Schnorin. Oh, for God's sakes. This new, trying to like make sure this new phone's right. But that is quite a good trilogy, and it is on Kindle Unlimited as well. Then, also as part of that, I finished the Celestial Kingdom duology, and I read Heart of the Sun Warrior by Sulin Tan. So that's just another duology that I read the first one a few months ago, and then I don't know why I just never picked up the second one. I gave this a 4. This would have been a 5, except there was a weird love triangle in here that I did not like. I'm sorry. I get why the love triangle was in there, but I didn't want it. I didn't like her ending. That's all. The rest of it was phenomenal, amazing, loved it. 10/10. The ending? No. Didn't like it. In the first one, you're following Xinyin. She is the daughter of the Moon Goddess, which is the name of book 1. Her mother is obviously the Moon Goddess. She has been exiled and sentenced to, she can't leave the moon. She's stuck on the moon because she upset the Celestial Kingdom one day, and so nobody knows that Xinyin exists. Then one day the Celestial Guard comes to the moon and she has to escape. She ends up at the palace of the Celestial King and Queen, and ends up being their son's like companion, the one who does like lessons and things with him. And we go from there. She wants to free her mother. We follow her story. Book 2 is the aftermath of all of that. It was, and would really recommend both of that duology because Sulin Tan's writing was so beautiful. It, for books that were, 2 books that were very action-packed, very fight-heavy, they were so beautiful. It's just her writing, like I would sit there and start reading and I'd look up and it would be like 2 hours later. And I was like, what the heck? I was just entranced into her world with her writing. I do really want to read more by her. Then our very last read was by Lucinda Berry again. This is the book that made me realise she is a child psychologist because there's a little blurb on the back. Trauma psychologist and leading research in childhood trauma, which is so cool. This is Phantom Limb. This one you're following Emily and Elizabeth, who are twins. They went through quite a lot in the first 7 or 8 years of their life with their biological mother, then got adopted. They're now in their early 20s, and one morning Elizabeth wakes up in hospital after finding Emily's body out of their house. This was insane. I'm very speechless about this. Everything about this was really good. There was a few twists in this. They were crazy. We basically set in a hospital most of the book, which was fine. However, I get that it's a thriller and you want to go into it blind, but check your trigger warnings, please. There's a topic in here that is very heavy, that I wish I knew about before I opened it. Yeah. Don't really know if I can tell you because it is a big plot point, but if you have triggers, please read the triggers. Please do see if you can find a trigger warning on this. But it was really good. Really good. 4 stars. That is our reading wrap up for July. Absolutely crazy amount of books. I think doing a 24-hour readathon in there kind of helped as well. Gave me, like, I finished quite a bit. Now, yeah, that's it. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you have, let me know what was your favourite read you had in July. Leave a comment, tell me all about it, and I will see you guys on Wednesday for our 24-hour readathon vlog.